השרת מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש הקדוש ברוך הוא בכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שלום עליכם שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש הקדוש ברוך הוא ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא try it together Shalom Aleichem Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu
Spending the 3 days before Thanksgiving with my grandson in Miami, the gift of grandparenthood is something never to be taken for granted. Having just turned 3 in September, he is highly impressionable and, being a Circman, very insightful. Wanting to share great life lessons, we managed between imagination games and doing drawing to watch Willy Wonka, the original, of course, with Gene Wilder. My angle was to get Sawyer to sit for the movie by telling him that the nasty girl, Veruca Salt, eventually turns purple. I was wrong. Violet Beauregard turns into a blueberry, but Veruca Salt is also banished from the chocolate factory for bad behavior. In the end, of course, because he is truly a good boy, guided by conscience and trustworthy character, Charlie Buckets not alone wins a lifetime supply of chocolate. You may remember. How many people here have seen Willy Wonka? I was so pleased that the majority of the congregation. It's a mitzvah. He not only gets the lifetime supply, but Willy Wonka gifts the generations of his family and Charlie Buckets with the chocolate factory. Though Sawyer's question still remained, but he still gets the chocolate, right? At dinner that night, I pointed out that if Sawyer played one of the parts in the movie, he'd be Charlie because he's growing into such a little mensch. What is the greatest life lesson we can impart to the coming generations? One I see Sawyer's amazing parents inculcating every day: kindness counts, especially in a world that's far too cruel. On this Shabbat, celebrating the generations Toldot, when many households gathered around the family table, there is no more Jewish, no more holy, no more human message we could convey. Every day is a choice as to how you live, as to who you'll be. So choose kindness. It'll fill you with a sweetness that is nothing less than sacred.
Seidchem l'shalom, malachei ha-shalom. Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
As always, we begin with light, our Shabbat candles. Come on up, Metch family.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
That's so smart. So smart.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Yeah. We rise for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat Amen. L'chaim.
You get to have a little sip. A very little sip. Want to share with your father? No?
You don't get me.
Come on, come on.
He doesn't get me. He's too drunk.
On page 131.
130.
It's 130. L'chuna ranana, or Kabbalat Shabbat.
Lechun heranena, yai dai 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 dai, la Adonai, yai dai 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 dai, Naria, yai dai 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 dai, Litzor Yishenu. Yai dai 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 dai
Shabbat bride does not come unless everybody sings. All right? You can't like fake it. You can't, with heart, with spirit on page 138. We need Shabbat's presence. We need you to sing from the heart, welcoming this Sabbath bride. Verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. L'chadodi.
L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem tiferet v'litila. L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haveraracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orechu mi'ori, uri, uri, shir daveri, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. Boi v'shalom, ater ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'betzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. L'chadodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela.
all part of it. It's all part of it. Good to see you, Mark. Good Shabbos.
Good.
Good idea. As you remain standing for the Baruch Hu, I share with you really what the intention of this call to prayer moment is by the great spiritual poet and editor of our prayer books for a generation, Rabbi Chaim Stern. Rabbi Stern wrote, "What I need is to live a whole life, daring but not driven, caring but never careless. Teach me not to be afraid of myself, yet not to be so filled with myself that I don't look before I take the next step. And teach me to listen to my inner voice, but to remember others too have voices I need to hear. We become a covenantal chorus, a holy community, when hearing inside helps us hear the people around us." On 146.
Yada-dai-dai-dai, 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 yada-dai-dai-dai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yada-dai-dai-dai, 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 yada-dai-dai-dai. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Shem kevod malchuto le'olam va'ed.
Page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam, al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha lema'an tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liod lachem lelohim, ani Adonai Elohechem.
As our country has become more aware of the atrocities perpetuated by early European and American colonizers against indigenous peoples, our celebration of Thanksgiving has changed. Our joy at spending time together remains, as does the gratitude we feel for abundance. But our experience of the holiday contains more nuance in the ways we choose to acknowledge the more challenging origins of the holiday and of our country. I feel similarly about Mi Chamocha. It is our communal song of liberation, and it's also a call to action. We can't sing the song with joy only. It's also an opportunity to think about all the ways that people are not yet free. We can feel grateful and joyous and push our world to be better too, so that one day all may enjoy the abundance of freedom. Mi Chamocha is on page 159. 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedor ba'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh Nora tehilot oseh feleh malechutecha rahu vanecha bokei hayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam ze Elianu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Yairai Yairai
We rise in body or in spirit for the tefillah on page 164.
תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
On this Shabbat Thanksgiving, an alternate hoda'ah, not the prayer on 176, when all our bounty, hopefully all across our tables, brings life perspective, let Rabbi Michal of Zlotchev's teaching frame what it truly means to be grateful. Rabbi Michal once said to his children gathered around the Shabbos meal, "My life was abundantly blessed that I never needed anything until I had it." Grateful.
I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed. I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they'll stay until the end. I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight, always there. Modim, modim, modim anachnu lach. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful.
Full of gratitude for all that we have, we take some time for private and personal prayer.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 178. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Amcha Yisrael, bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
With all the brokenness in the world and our lives, we rise as one congregation, connecting with those that are close by if you want, hands, arms, elbows, whatever feels comfortable. As we connect and in prayer, in hopes for healing.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
We especially call to mind at this moment of prayer for healing Judah Loria, Seth Berkson, Stephen Stampleman, Isaac Sadegurski, Ruth Barron, Renee Leopold, Michael Schur, Abby Zatoon, Rose Feigenbaum, Louise Coleman, Marvin Weiss, Renata Hirsch, Shari Benny Shai, Jonathan Glassman, Evelyn Silberg, Joanne Tobin, Carl Levine, Tyler Grad, my son Aaron, Dan Zimmerman, Tevye Ben Fremahenka, Megan Kearney Bailey, Julie Ross, Ian Spear, Jerry Gallner, Pat Ryan, Sam Phillip, Harriet Katz, Joseph Spinelli, Paul Wiggins, June Foreman, Louis Siegel, Sandy Warshaw, Andy Rosenthal, Bob Glassman, Stanley Tereski, Jody Kahn, Enid Elton, Hannah Stampleman, Harriet Lipton, Dick Stone, Marlo Wiggins, Nancy Hanley, and Paul Millman. Anyone here add a name in hopes of healing?
Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Amen. Hey, Lily, who wants to help me hand out the stuff? I don't think there's any extra. Thanks. We got plenty of it. Thank you, Cantor. I just want you to know I haven't really done a Torah teaching since, I'm trying to remember, pandemic times is sort of like another existence. So I don't believe, maybe once I've done a Torah teaching, which I used to do at least once a month, because it's so present and also so interactive. And I'm hoping DJ will tell me, because we probably have thousands of viewers who are looking in from home and other places around the world. One of them being my sister, hey Ron, And we want to make sure that people can see us and hear us. So I'm going to stand in the middle, and I think that'll be okay if I'm right here. I may ask a reader or two eventually, that would be Andy Harrison, to go up to the lectern and read a little bit, and probably Yvette as well. So I think I have plenty, right? We have plenty? So this is, of course, if you were going to choose a portion for Thanksgiving, you would say, oh, it should be told out, the birth of twins, the sibling rivalry. The tone setter here is, or the framing is, fewer than 1 in 3 households in 2021 had family dinner together more than twice a week. Fewer than 1 in 3, which is maybe not great. They said 70% almost doesn't have dinner more than 3 times a week. So Thanksgiving is the rare opportunity to be around the table with the people in our family, sometimes friends as well, but friends like family, with generations gathered, and to share. What's the problem? Those are usually people who don't eat together. They may know each other. Some of them may even like one another. But those are people who don't usually gather around the table. So what do you talk about? How do you converse? How do you connect? Tara Parker Pope, I do not know, but she's a journalist in the Washington Post, wrote just last week, what not to talk about. Here were her top 4. What not to talk about. 1, no comments on what people are eating. 2, avoid asking teens about their relationships. 3, no politics. 4, avoid asking folks on their way to college or in college, what are their plans after college? And young couples married, when are you having children? Now, to me, these are all no-brainers. So it got me to thinking, if Isaac and Rebecca, right, were going to have a family Thanksgiving feast, a reunion with, the kids, Jacob and Esau, what would they talk about? I think Esau would do most of the talking. I think if there were knives at the table, there would be it would not be a good Thanksgiving meal. So I think Esau would do a lot of the talking because Esau has all the questions. Take a look at the study sheet, our little study guide here, as we just look at a snippet. Remember what happens. This is sibling rivalry enhanced by parental favoritism. This is Isaac loving Esau because he had a taste for game, and Rebecca loving Jacob. We don't know why. And it plays out over the course of years until finally Jacob dresses up, encouraged by mom, like his brothers. He acquires the blessing meant for his brother and then enters Esau after coming in from the hunt, an amazingly devoted kid. All right, Andy Harrison, come on up. Andy Harrison, come on up. All right. You're all at the lectern, so there you go. So you mean my reader. So the Malbim asked the question, of course, based on the beginning, right? 34:36. When Esau heard his father's words, he burst into bitter cry, saying, "Bless me too, Father," adding, "Don't you have a blessing saved special for me?" The Malbim asked the question that I'll ask, should not a father be able to give blessing to all of his children? I mean, it seems obvious to us. Isaac somehow couldn't do it. Remember, Isaac is blind at this point in time, or his eyes had dimmed so much so that in the previous scene, and if we haven't, I know we have Joseph in the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. This should be played on Broadway easily, it would sell out. So think about Isaac is blind in more ways than physical. Isaac just gave the blessing that wasn't meant for Jacob to him. And so Rabbi Larry Hoffman understands maybe where Isaac doesn't see so well. The Larry Hoffman, Andy.
Reaching deep within, Isaac finds a second blessing, one he did not know was there. Blessing Esau, our commentators wonder what plea prompted the surprising discovery of another blessing to give. All explanations fail because truth is, Isaac sincerely believes he has no blessings left. He discovers otherwise not because Esau cajoles or argues, but because Esau cries. I have no doubt Isaac cries as well.
Why or how could Isaac think he has no blessing to give his son? Why? What was it about the relationship of Isaac and Jacob, or about the blessing itself, that he couldn't figure out another blessing to give? Lesson 1 in Thanksgiving parenting, right? Which is parents preconceive their children from birth, sometimes utero, or clearly by the time they're 1, right? How many, I don't want to be prototypical or stereotypical, I was told, right, that by certain relatives of my family, you're going to be a very good Jewish lawyer. I was like 6 because I could finagle a piece of gum from my great aunt. What is it about how we get sort of put in a certain, we get pegged, so to speak? But what prompts Esau cries? Who was Esau? What's his MO? He's a tough guy. He's a hunter. He's the guy, but he's a man of his emotions. He wears them on his sleeve. When he's hungry, he wants to eat, right? And when his heart's broken, he cries. Esau has to keep going because it's 3 times he cries in this short little passage. Finally, have you but one blessing, Father? Bless me too. And Isaac answered, saying, behold, your dwelling place shall be, and he goes into the blessing. So the rabbis throw Esau under the bus. What do I mean by that? They make Esau into Edom, into Rome. They make Esau into the sort of prototypical enemy of the peoplehood of Israel. Is Esau's blessing one that will pose him against the generations of Jacob? Absolutely. Is Esau in our story a bad guy? Not in the least. Take a look at Rabbi Norman Cohen, our teacher and my teacher at HUC.
If we have the impression that Esau was an uncouth hunter whose only concerns were his creature needs and who only had himself to blame, that is surely not the case. Not only do our sympathies lie with Esau, if we are honest, we can identify with him. Esau's painful words are ours. We have uttered them. We have heard them. What about me, Dad? Is it any wonder we'd rather ignore Esau's complaints and remain deaf to his cries?
It is very hard to answer Esau. Isaac has to be prompted 3 times. You would think parents, and of course all of us are wonderful parents, those of us blessed to be parents or grandparents, and we respond to each child according to their need and the moment. In this ancient world, the blessing was meant for one child. The blessing came along with the prize package of family inheritance. Jacob may have been the one to inherit the mantle of Israel's leadership, but Esau was worthy as well. It's a wonderful story of inclusion that's really meant for Thanksgiving. How many people here have heard associated with Jews the chosen people? All of us, right? Mordecai Kaplan brilliantly said no in his book, Judaism as a Civilization, almost 900 pages, don't read it. Kaplan said every people is chosen because each people has a vocation, a mission it has to fulfill. And my chosenness depends on your chosenness. We each have to do what we can in order to redeem humankind. Esau has something to give. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, Alav Shalom, great chief rabbi of the British Commonwealth, underscores what the beauty of Esau is as opposed to the trickster, his brother Jacob, yes, our ancestor of Israel.
Torah wants our sympathies to be drawn to Esau rather than to Jacob. Torah, in fact, goes out of its way to enlist our sympathies with Esau, to make us enter his world and see things from his perspective. Why? At the simplest level, there is humanity here that defies all stereotypes and conventional categorizations. Esau is a child loved by his father, who loves him in return. This is so striking that despite the generally negative evaluation of Esau in Midrashic literature, this fact shines through. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, said, "No man ever honored his father as I did mine, yet I found that Esau honored his father even more than I did." The Esau who emerges from the Torah has none of Abraham's faith, Isaac's steadfastness, or Jacob's persistence. He is carved of an altogether coarser grain, but he is not without his humanity. This too is part of the Torah's message. Just as we cannot predict God's actions in advance, I will be who I will be, so we cannot predict in advance where God's image will shine.
Thank you, Andy. This is a wonderful commentary. This is coming from an Orthodox rabbi, mainstream Orthodox, almost modern Orthodox, Rabbi Sachs. What is it telling us? No one knows, right? We can't predict in advance where God's image. Every child, every human being, but certainly every child radiates light. It's our job as parents to help that light shine. Isaac almost squelched the light on Esau, made him an angry human being. Esau is given a blessing, and he makes that blessing real. I couldn't resist framing the blessing, framing our Torah teaching with just the last comment that I'm going to read myself, because I wrote it, oh my God, I wrote it 30 years? Oh my God. I wrote it 30 years ago. The boys were 6. The boys meaning the brothers. I was explaining to somebody today why we call them the brothers. Susan, may she rest in peace, always called them the brothers, though they have names. And Susan said, well, it's in case we forget, the brothers. But the irony is they are unique individuals. Here's what I wrote back in '92. When an old friend called to wish us a happy Thanksgiving yesterday, he asked, how are the twins? I had to think for a minute, who's he talking about? Our boys are such decided individuals, each an entity in his own right. I don't think of them as twins. Don't misunderstand. They are intensely connected, yet each unique in who and how they are. Esau's struggle for blessing helps us understand our own family as well. Our children do not seek equal parenting. Rather, they desire to be loved uniquely, worthy of our blessing for who and what they are, not for what we've already decided they must become. In the end, Isaac finally sees beyond his blindness, recognizing his own reflection in Esau, the son he nearly rejected. Isaac and Esau weren't alike. They were very different. Isaac was sort of the homebody. Esau, man of the fields, the hunter. Isaac was a lot like Jacob, who he gave the blessing to in his blindness, and perhaps could have given a blessing to Esau, or definitely could have given a blessing to Esau as well. What's the great takeaway from Esau? Never disregard any of your children, and certainly any human being. But as a parent, a grandparent, the gift of children is that they bring different things. I had a conversation just last night at the Thanksgiving table. There were 3 people there, me, Aaron, and Alexander. Yes, they have names. And we were talking about the traits that they embody that have been passed down generations. And as I've shared before, my son Aaron eats like my grandfather Solly, with whom I grew up in the same house. It's a little eerie. It's a little spooky. Alexander responds to many things very much like his mother, with joy and laughter, sometimes uncontrollable laughter. And I said just last night, I said, guys, You know what's great about you? Even though you're both so connected, you're your own people. And my son Aaron, typical Aaron fashion, said, of course, who you expect us to be? Celebrate the gift of each child. Learn from Esau the lesson, because Esau is our teacher this Shabbat.
We prepare for the conclusion of our service on page 586 with Aleinu.
Please rise.
Oh, that.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tekedu la'liotzer b'reshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo Echad.
You may be seated. One of the ways that we give honor to our parents, one of the most precious ways, is by saying Kaddish. And this year, as part of our communal covenantal study on memory and meaning, we're spending a little extra time with Kaddish, with this prayer of memory, and considering not only the names of the people whom we recite this blessing for, but also the lives that were lived and the ways that they continue to impact us today. I am so grateful that tonight we have two people who are going to be sharing with us about their dads, and I'll call them up one by one, starting with Evelyn Sadler to speak about her father, Luciano.
My dad left a wonderful legacy. He was strong and had a big presence, yet he was humble and understated. He lived a very full life, always playfully, participating in new challenges and enjoying the exploration. From traveling to 99 countries, visiting all Jewish sites along the way, learning languages, singing, and learning to tango, to all sorts of athletic feats, including running the New York City Marathon when he was 71 years young. His experience as a Holocaust survivor who remembered Kristallnacht in Vienna and then the hard yet brand new life and experiences in Bolivia and Argentina shaped him as a person who would see the positive in people, and the reality surrounding him, always with youthful wonder and excitement. He was playful with all things in life, big and small, as a successful entrepreneur, or when he challenged his grandchildren racing up the stairs or to a ping pong match. He enveloped all of us in our family as well as friends with his unconditional love his positive outlook, and his smile. Always making the lives of everyone around him a little better, a little kinder, and a little more enjoyable. This love and pride and commitment extended to Israel, which we visited together one last time when he was almost 88 years old, despite his advanced Parkinson's disease and against all medical advice. This was a true gift to all of us, even though my parents and I had traveled with a walker, a wheelchair, and a motorized scooter. He passed out multiple times in that trip and woke up just when my mom and I were about to call the ambulance, and then minimized the incident and continued to enjoy every minute. We will all miss you as you continue to live in all of us every day and shape who we become.
And Hilda, I'll invite you up to speak about your father, Morris.
Memories of my father, Morris Green, a blessed memory. He came to this country in 1920 when he was a teenager and apprenticed to a glazier in New York City. The glazier fell out of a window and ended that career before it began. He then apprenticed to a butcher, which he was all of his life. He wanted to be independent and never work for a boss. So he owned a grocery store where we all worked. That included my mother, my 3 sisters, and 1 helper. He was incredibly talented and could do and fix almost everything. He built the house we lived in Forty Fort, Pennsylvania, a very small town near the Susquehanna River. He taught me to use and respect tools. Dad encouraged his 4 daughters to be accomplished. I studied piano and tap dancing. He told us to always do our best. He made me feel I could do anything I set my mind to do. He had this expression which sounded like, quote, Torah is the best Sahara, which he translated to, learning is the best pursuit. Our home was kosher, and we were observant Jews. I went to Talmud Torah Hebrew school every day after public school until I was 14. For the holidays, we walked miles to the nearest shul in a neighboring town. Here is one of the old country rituals we observed for the Saturday night Havdalah. The family gathered around the table. Dad would pour a little schnapps right on the table and then light it with a Shabbos candle. Then he would put the tips of his fingers into the fire and then into his pockets. And he said that was so there would always be money in his pockets. He also said that I should hold the candle high over my head so that I would marry a tall man. I consider my husband a giant. During the last years, he lived with us. One of our temple members did a gigantic mitzvah. Every Sunday morning, Steve Gutman came to our house and talked current events with my dad over a bowl of soup. Another temple member, Tom Landau, was Dad's favorite doctor. Dad could count on him for some good jokes and good care. Dad was generous and kind and had a sense of humor. These are some of the memories I cherish.
Thank you, Hilda, and thank you, Evelyn, for sharing your dads with us and reminding us of the many memories we may also have as well. To their memories, we add the names and the legacies of Dorothy Campbell, Sadie Schumann, Don Lewis, Stephen Neal Ifshin, Joel Schulman, Selma Green, Leo Blumenfrucht, Fran Vernick, Hetty Mann, Marilyn Kaplan Brandt, Ralph Garfield, Luciano Friedenbach, Faye Robinson, Sidney Haber, Martin Mousekop, Ira Birnbaum, Raoul Elton, Ruth Pollock, Gussie Deutsch, Ruth Cohen, Sadie Siegel, Lena Axelrod, Natalie Wald, Svi Alexander, David Ziegelman, Isidore Rubenstein, Nina Altman, Peter Wennick Kaplan, Max Bloom, Harry Weinberger, Bernard Altman, Catherine Krensky, Gail Robinson, Rose Nackman, Yetta Bloom Tudelman, David Pressman, Beulah Adler, Sarah Pressman, Charlotte S. Colmes, and Sis Fishgrund. We also call to memory those who died in most recent days: Hyla Melnick, mother of Richard, Kenneth, and Andrew, grandmother of Sarah, Miriam, Joshua, Caroline, and Jacob, great-grandmother of Kaylee and Alana, and Joel Bertman, husband of Claudia, father of Brianna and Alexandra, grandfather of Max, Zoe, and Miles, brother of Andrea and Ruth, uncle of Sam, Rachel, Anna, and Nathan. If there's someone who's touched your life who you are remembering on this Shabbat, I'll invite you to say their name out loud for us. We rise in memory and comfort and gratitude for the lives they lived. Kaddish is on page 598. Yikadal v'kadash shmei rabba, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uvyomechon uvchaye d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach leolam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kudisha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember.
Zichronam livracha, may their memories be our blessing. You may be seated. Oh, we've got announcements. Come on up, Yvette. So happy to have you.
Shabbat Shalom. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to welcome everyone in the sanctuary, as well as, what'd you say, 100,000? Watching from remotely. Thank you to the clergy for a soulfully spiritual service this evening, and to both of you for sharing the wonderful memories of your fathers. Thank you so much. Very touching. Few announcements. Please mark your calendars for a wonderful Artists in Residence weekend, December 9th, 10th, and 11th, with the Guy Mendelow Ensemble, master storytellers who weave music and spoken word poetry into the stories of our people. Several weeks ago, I had the opportunity to learn from Guy and his colleague, spoken word poet Reggie Gibson, and it was a transformational evening. Please don't miss the experience. Check the websites for times and dates and the planning there. Social action and social justice committees are very busy with several events to support our communities. Again, please check the website. There's also details about security training, a brotherhood breakfast, young family pizza Shabbat. Seriously, there's something for everybody in the coming weeks leading us to Hanukkah. And tomorrow, Chevra Torah at 9 in person or via Zoom. The Shabbat morning musical Minyan is canceled, but anyone and everyone is welcome to join in the sanctuary as we celebrate Jordan's bar mitzvah and welcome you as the newest adult in our community. Mazel tov to your wonderful family, Michelle and Seth. I had the opportunity to watch your YouTube video. It was amazing. And for those of you who have not watched it, I highly recommend it. Thank you for sharing this creative, insightful Devar Torah with us, and for indeed teaching us there are so many ways to study Torah. Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
We close in joy on page 625 with Adon Olam. Please rise.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Leit Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimlok Nora Adon Olam, Vehu Elia, Vehu Hove, Vehu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Leit Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Vehu Echad, Ve'ein Sheni, Lahamshilo Lahachbira, Beli Reshit, Beli Tachlit, Ve'lo Haoz Ve'hamizra Adon Olam, Ve'hu Eli, Ve'chai Goali, Ve'tzor Chevli Beit Sarah, Ve'hu Nisi, Umanosli, Menapkosi Beyom Mekra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'tserem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Leit Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Be'yado Afkid Ruchi, Beit Zishan Ve'ayira, Ve'im Ruchi Geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Leit Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. Shabbat Shalom.